So I'm going to start with the console application, okay, and I'm going to create a folder with, yeah, today is 16th of August, so I'm going to create a folder with the same as the date, 16th of, okay, yep. So do you know anything about the functions or method?
Yeah, a little bit I do, yeah.
Okay, so can you describe basically what is a function?
A function is kind of like a function can perform an action, or it can receive or send a variable through it, and you can call for that function anywhere in your code depending on how you declare the function.
Okay, so what do you think? What could be the advantage of the function?
Um, you could have a number of advantages, such as being able to call it anywhere in the code, being able to keep your code more maybe tidy and structured by having functions all together and a way, not everything all together. You can just structure things separately.
Yeah, that is basically the main advantage of the functions, that we can keep the things separate, so that let's say afterwards, if we need to uh, perform certain changes in a particular functionality, so we can directly go to the function where it has been described, instead of going to the going for the full code, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So so how to declare a function, and what more we can do with the function, so that's we are going to learn today. And after that, we are going to basically do one more concept, that is known as collections. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we have done classes in the previous classes, so I think you are quite comfortable with the class, right?
Yeah.
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 So whenever we want to declare a particular function, so we need to write first of all the access specifier. So what do you mean by access specifier? So access specifier is basically uh, it basically describes the scope within which you can use a particular element, for example a variable or a function. Let's say if we declare a access specifier as public, so public means that you can directly access the member from anywhere inside the assembly, or assembly rather, I should say, inside this particular namespace as console application 1. So let's say if we have another class, let's say program 2, or any other third class, let's say program 3. So in any of the classes, we can access that function that we are going to declare as public. So that is basically the name public suggests, as it can be accessed from anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the private, so let me just write down the complete access specifiers. Yep. So first of all, we have public, means you can access it from anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Second thing is basically private. So what do you mean by private? Actually, private means that we can access within a certain class only. Means, let's say if we have declared a particular function, so we can use that particular function inside that class only in which we have defined it, but we cannot use outside the class. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the third is protected. So what do you mean by protected? Actually, protected means that we can access a certain element in the child class. So it will be implemented where whenever we implement inheritance. So inheritance, as explained in the last class, I've explained each and everything regarding the OOPS. So inheritance was one of the features that we have discussed in the last class. So protected means that, let's say if you have a base class and then you have a child class, so you can access the member of a base class. Base means the parent class. You can access the member of a parent class into from a child class if that particular element is marked as protected. Okay.
Yeah.
But other than the child class, you cannot access it. Okay. Yep. So protected means you can access the element from the child class, and that element, let's say if you have created that element in the base class, so you can access it from the child class. Then fourth is basically internal. So what do you mean by internal? Actually, internal means that you can access a particular element within the same assembly or within the same file. Let's say, for example, if we have console application 1, so we can access a certain element inside this assembly only, right? Inside this console application 1 file only. But that's the same that I have explained in the public also, right?
Yeah.
So what is the difference between public and internal? So the public means that you can access the element from the same, within the same assembly, within the same file, or you can access it from another file also. Let's say if we have a if we have a different file, let's say console application 2, so we can access it from there also. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in internal, we can access only within the same assembly. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the fifth one is basically protected internal. So protected internal means that we can access, means it contains the functionality of both the protected and the internal. So we are going to discuss that whenever I when I'll explain that concept that is known as assembly. So when I explain that particular concept, then I'll discuss the protected internal. So and internal also, and protected we are going to discuss an inheritance. So for the time being, we just need to concentrate on public and private more. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So we are going to declare a particular function, let's say public, and then the return type we need to write. So what is the return type actually? So return type means that a function always returns a value, or sometimes it doesn't return a value, right? Okay. So what is basically the parameter? So parameter means whenever we want to pass certain values from the main, and we want that those values should be used in a particular function. For example, I'm going to write public void, and let's say I'm going to write accept. So accept is a function, and I'm going to declare basically a variable int n. So this int n is known as a parameter. So this parameter can be used to accept the values from the user from the main function. So let's say now if I want to create basically the object of this particular class named as program, so program p equal to new program, and let's say if we want to call the function p dot accept. So now I need to pass a certain value. As you can see over here, it asks me to enter a value n, right?
Yeah.
So we need to pass the value from the main function, then this 9 will be copied to this variable that is n. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can implement any logic. For example, if n is greater than 10, so let's say I'm going to print console.writeLine, let's say greater than 10, else less than 10. It's just a simple example to show what is basically what is basically parameters are. Okay. So now I have called this particular function accept, and I have passed a value, let's say 9. So now it's going to check whether that 9 that we have entered is going to copy in this particular variable, okay, n, and then if it is greater than 10, then greater than 10 will be printed, otherwise less than 10 will be printed. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say if we run this particular application, so less than 10 should be displayed. Oh, I have not used console.readline, so I need to use that statement console.readline, and then we need to execute. Yeah, so less than 10 is getting printed. So basically what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we need to pass the values as a parameter. So what is the need actually, where we need to declare the parameters, or where we need not to declare any parameters? So that can be that question basically is there always, and in order to give the answer to that question, I need to create an example for that. So let me create an example where we will take a variable, okay, we'll accept the value in it, or rather we'll give it a value, let's say 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and then I'll write one function that is going to print the sum of digits, and then I need to write another function that is going to reverse that number. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me change this particular scenario. Now let's say if we have a variable n equals to 1 2 3 4 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I need to create two functions. So public void, I think I've explained what is void, what is int, what is char, means the return type.
Yeah.
So public void, and let's say sum. I have created a function as sum. Okay, and now let's say I'm not going to use any parameter in this program, because first of all I need to show what will happen if we are not using parameters, and then how we can resolve those issues using the parameters. So right now I'm not going to declare any parameter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a single variable n. Okay, now
Okay.
so this sum function basically means is that I want to print basically the sum of digits, means the output should be 15. Why 15? That's 1 plus 2 plus it will be 3, 3 plus 3 9, 9 plus 4 13, or something like this. Yep.
Yeah.
So 1 plus 2, that is 3, 3 plus 3 6, 6 plus 4 10, and 10 plus 5 15. So I want basically to fetch the sum of digits. Okay, so I think I have given that question to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can discuss that question over here. So
Yeah.
1 2 3 4 5 is it's basically a number like 12,345. So how we are going to print the sum of digits? So there is a logic, there is a mathematical logic for that. So let me explain that logic to you first, and then we are going to implement that in a program. Okay, so
Yeah.
1 2 3 4 5, or rather 12,345, if we divide that number, or let's say if we perform basically modulus, if we modulus this number by 10, so we are going to get basically 5, right? The last digit will be the remainder. If we divide this number by 10, so last digit will be remainder, right?
Yeah.
For example, 10 ones are 10, then 23, 10 twos are 20, it will be 34, 10 threes are 30, 45, then 10 fours are 40, and the 5 will be the remainder, always.